Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive.
Hello again.
So, we're diving back into our mini-series, Counting the Cost. This is part 4, digging into PG Sebastian's work from the Steps to Forever ecosystem.
Yep. And today's focus is huge.
Mm-hmm.
It's about those, well, hidden fault lines. Culture, religion, and communication. Getting aligned on those.
Right, the stuff you often don't see until, life really tests the structure.
Exactly. And the main piece we're drawing from today is P.G. Sebastian's essay, The Architecture of Us.
Oh, that one opens with such a powerful image. It really stuck with me. Sebastian talks about the modern couple being like aspiring architects.
Mm-hmm. But they're obsessed with the flashy bits, right?
Totally. The penthouse suite, he calls it. The perfect wedding, the amazing honeymoon photos, that whole romantic.
Well, poetry of feeling. They've got that nailed down.
But they completely skip the foundational work, the messy stuff underneath.
It's like PG quotes in the article. They're so focused on the summit, they forget the geological survey. They don't test the load-bearing capacity of their values.
Yeah, you really should check out the full piece on PG's Substack or his blog, pgssebastian.com/blog. It's worth the read.
It really is. And it brings us to the core question. Based on that ancient wisdom, PG often references from Luke 14.
The part about counting the cost before you build the tower.
Precisely. Why do so many relationships that look incredible on the surface eventually crumble? PG's answer. They didn't estimate the real cost up front.
And our mission here, as always with these deep dives, is to take these, frankly, complex ideas from PG and make them practical, useful for you if you're aiming for forever.
Because forever should be built with clarity. That's the whole point.
So the big risk isn't really about not having enough love, is it? It's more about not having enough foresight.
That's the core of it. The cost wasn't calculated until the bills were already overdue, emotionally speaking.
And we've established that cost isn't usually dollars and cents.
No, PG says it's paid in a far more precious coin. Things like culture, faith, communication styles. If you don't account for those early, well, you're basically designing a ruin.
Okay, but why do we do this? Why are we sometimes so blind to these, massive potential problems? We see other couples struggle.
Ah, that's what PG calls the potent cocktail of cognitive biases. It's powerful stuff.
A cocktail, okay. What's in it?
Well, first up, there's a big dose of optimism bias.
Yeah.
That deep-seated belief that, yeah, it happens to them, but we're different. We're the exception.
Right. Our love is stronger, somehow magical. It'll just smooth over those big differences in background or beliefs.
Exactly. And then you mix in the halo effect.
Okay, that's it.
It's when you admire something about your partner, maybe they're incredibly kind or super smart or funny,
Mm-hmm.
and that positive quality casts this glow over everything else about them. It makes it harder to see the potentially jarring parts of their background.
Or their family's way of doing things, or how they handle conflict, the software PG calls it.
That's it. You're so taken with their kindness, you don't notice their family communicates entirely through passive aggression, maybe.
And come on, you've done this. Thinking that their, quirky way of avoiding arguments will just, poof, disappear after the wedding.
We all do it. We focus on the person we fell in love with, forgetting we're also signing up for their entire life's operating system, how they view money, deal with stress, family dynamics.
Yeah. And when something does clash, like a tradition that feels totally alien or a weird family dynamic.
That's when the third ingredient kicks in, romantic idealization.
Ah, reframing the problem.
Exactly. Instead of seeing a potential fault line, a warning sign, you label it a charming quirk.
Oh, it's just their family's funny way.
Right. It lets you maintain the delusion that love is the only thing you need, the single magic ingredient.
When really, love might be the fuel. But PG argues alignment is the actual foundation. You need both.
Absolutely. Love powers the engine, but alignment makes sure the wheels are pointing in the same direction.
Okay, that psychology is unsettlingly familiar. But let's get practical. What are these costs PG says we absolutely have to estimate? The non-financial ones.
Right. Let's break down the 3 big ones he identifies. First is cost A, ritual, and tradition.
Okay.
Failing to figure this out proactively, PG warns, it becomes like a recurring annual tax on the couple's peace.
A tax on peace. Wow. Paid how?
Paid in emotional energy, negotiation fatigue. Think about holidays, big one.
Oh, yeah. Huge.
Maybe your Christmas Eve is all about midnight mass, very sacred to you. But for your partner, it's just this, obligation keeping them from the family fun they grew up with.
So every year, it's a negotiation, a tense one.
Exactly. One person feels like they're giving up a piece of their soul, their identity, just to keep the peace. The other feels dragged into something meaningless, maybe even resentful.
And instead of joy, you get dread
Yeah,
around something that should be connecting you year after year.
that's the tax.
Okay.
Okay, next up, cost B, language and communication.
And this isn't just about speaking different languages like English or Spanish, right?
Much deeper. It's about cultural communication styles.
Mm.
PG draws a really key distinction here between direct, explicit, what he calls low-context cultures.
Where you say what you mean pretty plainly, words are key.
Right. Versus high-context cultures, where meaning is often implied. It's in the nuance, the shared history, the silences, what's not said.
Okay, I can see how that could clash badly.
Oh, profoundly. The low-context person thinks the high-context partner is being evasive. Just tell me what you want. They feel unseen, confused.
And the high context person.
They often feel the low-context partner is blunt, maybe aggressive, even rude, lacking finesse, disrupting the harmony.
Wow, so it's like they're operating on completely different rules about reality.
Pretty much. They're trying to communicate without a shared codebook. And over time, PG says that leads to this deep, isolating loneliness, even when you're together.
That makes sense. And that gap must make cost and C intimacy expectations incredibly hard to navigate.
Almost impossible sometimes. PG gives this really poignant example.
Yeah.
Imagine one partner feels loved and connected through constant verbal affirmation. Lots of I love yous, sharing feelings, deep talks.
Okay, the high context emotional disclosure script.
Right. But the other partner, they show and feel love through acts of service, fixing things, doing chores, just being physically present, maybe quietly holding a hand.
The low context pragmatic script.
Exactly. And the result, PG calls it a tragic paradox.
How so?
You have two people who genuinely, deeply love each other, but neither feels loved in the way they're fundamentally wired to receive it.
Oof. One is doing all these things, mowing the lawn, making dinner.
While the other's just desperately waiting for a heartfelt, how was your day, really? A long hug.
And both feel unseen, unloved, despite the effort.
It raises that crucial question, doesn't it? Are you feeling seen in the way you need to be seen? Or are you maybe expecting your partner to speak a love language they literally haven't been taught culturally or by family? That's something you have to figure out before you commit.
It's insidious, too, because these issues don't always blow up right away.
No. PG describes the reckoning not as a big bang, but as a slow, quiet process of subsidence, like the foundations settling unevenly.
The cracks don't show up in the first year, necessarily.
Often not. It's year 5, year 7, year 10, often triggered by major life events that force these abstract differences into concrete reality.
Like what kind of triggers?
PG gives a couple of really potent examples. First, having a child.
Yeah. Suddenly those theoretical religious differences aren't theoretical anymore.
Not at all. It becomes baptism, bris, naming ceremony, which religious school, if any. It's suddenly a practical battleground over whose heritage, whose core identity gets passed on.
The stakes become incredibly high overnight.
Immense. And another trigger he mentions is when a parent gets seriously ill or needs care.
That digs deep into cultural programming.
Absolutely. One partner's cultural script might say, of course mom moves in with us, no question.
Yeah.
While the others might be, the most respectful, practical thing is finding excellent professional care.
And suddenly this massive values chasm opens up that you maybe never even discussed because it was just abstract before.
Exactly. It was invisible until tested by reality.
Okay, so this sounds daunting, but there's a path forward, right? It's not hopeless if you catch it.
Definitely. The key, according to PG's framework, is a radical shift in perspective. You have to see alignment not as a nice-to-have bonus, but as a structural prerequisite, like needing steel beams in a skyscraper.
Embracing the architect's wisdom before you even break ground.
Precisely. And that leads to specific foundational acts. Act 1 is about moving beyond assimilation, where one culture basically gets erased.
Which happens way too often.
It does. Moving toward genuine cultural integration. The goal isn't absorption, it's creating a unique third culture for the relationship itself.
A new blend. How do you do that practically?
PG suggests the ritual and tradition audit. You literally list out all the rituals, holidays, family practices from both sides.
Okay.
Then you sort them. Pile 1, sacred non-negotiable. Pile 2, cherished adaptable. Pile 3, can be retired.
What happens when both partners have something in that sacred non-negotiable pile and they clash, like two different major religious holidays?
That requires the deepest level of negotiation and respect. It might mean finding ways to honor both, even if separately, or creating space around them. The key is becoming the protector of your partner's sacred thing, even if you don't fully share it. You champion its importance for them.
Got it. So you protect their space for it, and the real creativity comes in with the cherished adaptable pile.
That's where you build the third culture. You blend elements. Maybe you take their family's summer lake trip tradition and combine it with your family's tradition of specific campfire stories or songs. You invent hybrid rituals.
Blending, not battling. I like that. What about religious differences?
For that, PG calls for a spiritual summit, foundational Act 2. And the goal here is crucial. It's comprehension, not conversion.
Understanding, not changing the other person.
Yes, you need to truly grasp what their faith means to them, its core tenets, its role in their identity. And critically, you must create a clear, unified plan for the spiritual upbringing of any future children.
That agreement is like a preventative charter.
Exactly. It prevents those future battlegrounds we talked about.
Okay, Act 3 must be communication. Right, given the earlier points.
You got it, the couple's communication code.
Mm-hmm.
This involves shifting away from blame, you always interrupt, or you never say what you mean, and shifting towards linguistic study, recognizing, okay, we seem to have different communication styles here. One high context, one low context.
Acknowledging the different operating systems.
Yes. Then you implement rules. The low context person practices softening their delivery, giving more context, maybe validating feelings before jumping to solutions.
Okay, that takes conscious effort.
It does.
Yeah.
And the high context person practices being more direct, striving for clarity, understanding their partner might need things spelled out more explicitly.
That sounds exhausting, honestly. Like constantly analyzing every word.
It can be, especially at first, which is why PG emphasizes the crucial safety net, the policy of generous interpretation.
Generous interpretation. What's that?
It's the pre-agreed commitment that even when communication feels clumsy or blunt or frustratingly indirect, you assume positive intent first. You assume they weren't trying to be hurtful or dismissive.
Ah, so you give the benefit of the doubt as a default policy.
Yes. It shifts the focus from reacting defensively to remembering the underlying trust and commitment. It's a buffer against misunderstanding.
That's actually really powerful, practical tool for trust. Okay, what else?
Foundational Act 4 covers intimacy and social life. First, drafting a shared intimacy blueprint.
Going beyond just physical intimacy.
Way beyond. Mapping out what makes each person feel truly connected across all four facets PG identifies. Physical, emotional, intellectual, and spiritual. What does seen or safe actually look like for each of you in those areas?
So you explicitly define it, preventing that tragic paradox of loving each other but feeling unloved.
Precisely. And finally, to handle the social side, integrating families, friends.
Which can be tricky, especially cross-culturally.
Very. PG advises adopting the role of mutual ambassadors. When you're in your partner's family or social world, you are their guide, their buffer, their protector.
You brief them beforehand. Okay, avoid talking politics with Uncle Joe.
Exactly. You run interference, explain dynamics, and equally important, you schedule protected tribe time.
Tribe time.
Yeah, dedicated time for each partner to recharge with their own friends, family, or cultural group. Time to reconnect with their roots without the pressure of constantly navigating the third culture. It maintains individual strength.
That makes a lot of sense. It's about balance. So, looking back at all this, counting the cost isn't about being negative or doubting the relationship.
Not at all. PG frames it as the opposite. He says it's the ultimate act of faith.
Yeah, how so?
It's declaring that the relationship, the tower you're building together, is so important, so sacred, that you're willing to do the hard, unglamorous foundational work to make sure it lasts.
Doing the geological survey because the building matters that much?
That's the essence of it. Ignoring these costs means you risk building something perpetually unfinished. Maybe a place where one or both of you always feel a little foreign, a little alienated in your own home.
But being co-architects from the start, designing that integrated blueprint before you start building, that's the path to something solid.
That's the wisdom in this framework.
Okay, so let's leave our listeners with something to chew on, a provocative thought for the road.
Go for it.
If you did that ritual and tradition audit right now, today, which of your own deeply cherished, maybe lifelong traditions would you genuinely be willing to adapt or maybe even retire To make space for your partner's heritage.
Ooh, that's a tough one. Really makes you think about the sacrifice involved in integration.
It does, so think on that. And thank you truly for making the deep dive part of your day, whether you're driving, working, or just taking a moment.
We really appreciate you tuning in. Please do subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on those notifications so you catch the final part of this mini-series.
And maybe share it if you found something useful. Let us know what stood out.
Your engagement means a lot.
We're committed to bringing you this kind of credible, practical guidance for building relationships meant for forever, all drawn from PG Sebastian's work.
Definitely check out more on his Substack, Steps to Forever, or the blog at pgsebastian.com/blog.
And we'll see you next time for the conclusion of Counting the Cost.